In our spotlight, they called it the fundraiser to end all fundraisers, the largest one the Democratic National Committee has ever had, according to the First Lady. It was last night at Radio City Music Hall. A lot of star power there. Hollywood meets Washington in a way, all aimed at re-electing President Biden in his rematch against former President Donald Trump. Stephen Colbert moderated a conversation with Presidents Biden, Obama, and Clinton. Queen Latifah, Lizzo, and Ben Platt all performed, all before an audience of Democratic donors. There were also at least 6 interruptions from protesters calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Overall, the Biden campaign says it raised about $26 million from this event. So I want to bring back my panel now. Christina, I want to start with you, because if you saw the video that we just played of this event, there's a little courtesy in the upper right-hand corner that says either from the Biden campaign or from Jamie Harrison, the chair of the DNC. That's because there were no TV cameras allowed inside. This was a campaign fundraiser. That's not uncommon for fundraisers, but was this a missed opportunity in your view? Because they had some stars, Obama and Clinton. Those are very effective communicators for the Democratic Party. Why not live stream this? Why not show more of it? Was this a missed opportunity in your view?
I mean, it was a historical moment to have all 3 there, which is why you had so much money raised at this one event. I think a lot of people would have loved to hear from them. You can say it's a missed opportunity, but when you also look at the fundraising numbers between Biden and Trump, this event was not just incredibly successful fundraising for this single event. Overall, Biden is beating Trump. In the last February report, right, he had double the amount of money on hand than Trump. So, and more in small dollar donors now, in large scale donors than Trump does. So it's a real advantage that the Biden administration has. But they have to do a lot more to get their word out. Money is not everything. We know the Biden administration has passed policies that are very popular with Democrats and independents, but a lot of people still don't know about those policies. And lastly, of course, there were protesters there about the issue of Gaza, and that needs to be addressed because most recent polling shows that the majority of Americans now want a ceasefire.
Barbara, Christina leads me right to you here. The Trump campaign is already promising it's going to hold an even bigger fundraiser, they claim, and haul in an estimated $33 million. That's according to sources familiar with the planning. But Trump and the RNC, as Christina noted, are behind Democrats in overall fundraising. Can they close the gap, in your view, and why are they lagging behind?
Well, there's been a 5-fold difference. You know, Biden is ahead by 5-fold in terms of raising money. So even if he has that big fundraiser, which big if, he is still going to be way behind. And one of the big problems, secondly, is that he's spending his money still on legal fees, not just on campaigns. And thirdly, I'd point out that the Biden campaign has been opening dozens and dozens of field offices, while Laura Trump, who has taken over the RNC, just fired a whole bunch of field office staff, much to the chagrin of a lot of RNC, folks in the field. And she's, those offices aren't even open. So you still have a big discrepancy here. And then finally, I'd point out, you had all those presidents there. Donald Trump can't even get his own vice president to support him, said he won't support him, and there's no living president or a presidential candidate or vice presidential candidate who is supporting Trump. And of course, there's about 17 or 18 of his own cabinet members who aren't supporting him.
LZ, we're talking about fundraising in the hundreds of millions here, and that's because it takes that amount to win the White House. In your reporting, how have you heard voters react to that? And is this just inextricably linked now? Is big money and politics always going to be together, and there's nothing you can do about it?
Well, I'll start with your last question first. There's always something we can do about it. It's just whether or not Congress has the fortitude to do something about it. But to your first question, absolutely voters are concerned with the amount of money that's going into politics, and not just in terms of the general election, but it's getting ridiculous on the congressional level. It's even getting ridiculous on the governor's level. And so I don't know exactly what the overall solution will be, because that is a monster that we're talking about, campaign financing and all the dollars, to your point, that it takes to get elected to these offices. But I do know this. You can't continue to have the American people living check to check while you have fundraisers making tens and maybe hundreds of millions of dollars. Eventually, there's going to be a pushback, and I'm not quite sure how that pushback is going to be, but we've already started the Great Resignation, and with all of the strikes that have happened over the past 2 years, the American people are tired of being taken advantage of.
Yeah, I don't know if our viewers know this, but when political reporters like me try to check up on how a campaign is doing, we look at how much cash they have and how much money they have raised. So money is the lifeblood of a campaign. Mike, I want to turn to you because back to that Radio City fundraiser, a lot of star power there, as we saw. Do you think that the Biden-Harris campaign benefits from those kind of celebrity endorsements, or do those endorsements just speak to voters who are already kind of leaning Democrat anyway?
I think it does two things. I think having the celebrity moments at these type of fundraisers is a huge advantage in terms of get the conversation going. And it really, Jay, speaks to a couple of different things with that one. It goes to the energy of the Biden campaign. Prior to the start of their primary contest, people thought that the Democratic Party didn't have the appetite or the enthusiasm or the energy to support a re-election bid for President Biden. Having these type of celebrities, having this type of draw with two other living presidents at Radio City Music Hall, having the picture distributed the way that it was and raising such a record total, that shows that the Democratic Party has unity, which is an extreme opposite conversation to what Barbara was just talking about when it comes to where the Republican Party are with unification. And I really do think that raising this type of money in tolls is going to be tactically sound for Biden's campaign going forward in terms of how to position in the key battleground states.
All right, Mike, Barbara, Christina, LZ, thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.